Okay, so today is Wednesday, which means tomorrow is Thursday, which means tomorrow is the start of NFL Week 10. So let's pick some games. Let's see what the fuck happens. Starting with the marquee matchup of the Panthers in Chicago on Thursday night. And oh boy, this is a Thursday night ass game. The worst team in the league against. Are the Bears even the other? No, because the Bears have a better record than the Cardinals at this point. Because the Bears beat Washington and they beat the Raiders. The Raiders were so bad under McDaniels, they lost to the Bears. So this is not a matchup of the number 1 overall pick and the number 2 overall pick, which granted the Bears have the Panthers pick anyway. So it was kind of funny for that. It's like, yeah, the Bears have literally nothing to lose here. I guess in that regard, it's even better for the Bears to win because it just makes the Panthers pick worse. The Bears will still have, I would be shocked if they didn't have 2 top 5 picks. I don't think they're going to have the number 1 and number 2 because the Cardinals are still there. And I love the Cardinals, fire in your gut and all that shit. But, bro, they do have Kyler coming back. So maybe if Kyler comes back and is actually able to play well and get them some wins, the Cardinals also have the Texans pick. So they have 2 first rounders, but Houston is not looking bad right now. CJ Stroud is the fucking truth. I don't think the Cardinals are going to have 2 top 5 picks, maybe 2 top 10 picks if Houston doesn't end up getting into the playoffs. Anyways, Panthers and the Bears. I don't want to pick the Bears to win a football game, but I'm not going to pick the Panthers either. They're both pretty fucking terrible. But at the very least, the Bears have a little bit more to play for because they can make the Panthers pick even worse, which for them would make it even better. So I guess I'll take Chicago. The Colts and the Patriots. This is another one where I don't really know. It's like, I feel like the Colts are probably the better team right now. The Patriots, it's week after week, with a few exceptions. They're like right there, but they can't quite finish the game. The Colts have had quite a few games like that too, and I'm like, I wrote down the Colts because I'm like, every time I think the Patriots might get a win, I end up getting proven wrong. Which, knowing my track record, means this is going to be the week where the Patriots actually do it. But you know what? Fuck them. Every time I try to believe in them, they let me down, so I'm not going to believe in them. I'm not a Patriots fan anyways. I owe them nothing. I'm going to pick the Colts. Like, I don't really have much to say. It's like neither team is really that good, so But then we get to the Browns and the Ravens, where this is a way more interesting matchup. 2 teams with winning records. The AFC North is a fucking dogfight, but the Ravens are perched atop everyone else. This one's in Baltimore. The Ravens have been playing out of their fucking minds. Like, again, the Cardinals game wasn't dominant, but they still won. And then Sam went, like, the other fucking ends of that, destroyed the Lions and I almost said the Bears, and destroyed the Seahawks. Cleveland has a great defense. That defense is going to keep them in the game. Deshaun Watson is going to be starting, with the exception of their last game, which, again, was against the Cardinals. He hasn't played very well. Granted, he's been injured. He hasn't actually played a lot. But when he has played, Deshaun Watson has not inspired confidence. The Ravens' offense don't need Lamar to have insane games to be able to win. I can speak for that because my fantasy team the last couple weeks. That instills confidence in me. Lamar can have a great game, and he can have like I'm not doing too much, but we're still winning, and we're still winning by a lot because the rest of the offense is just that good. It's less of he's playing like shit and they're winning in spite of him, and more of he doesn't need to do everything. Like, this is the kind of offense I feel like Josh Allen wishes he has, where he doesn't have to play hero ball. And I look at that and I go, like, I know Cleveland has a really good defense. That's going to, like, the Ravens aren't going to put up like 30, 40 points, I don't think. But they're going to still play well. And even if you can't get him into the end zone, they still have Justin Tucker, who he's not as good as he used to be. Like, I've noticed this year, he's not as automatic. He's still Justin fucking Tucker. I think the offense is going to put up enough points. The Ravens defense is also fucking nasty. And with the Browns QB situation, I don't think they're going to go into, especially because this is in Baltimore, and they're like fucking unbeatable there this season, with the exception of the Colts game, which I think was like a weird rainy game. And maybe this will be too. I don't know. But I have the Ravens winning. I don't think they win huge, but like a 13 to 15 point kind of win. That I think that happens. Next is Green Bay against Pittsburgh. So this is a matchup of two teams that play a lot, at least offensively, play a lot better in the second half. To me, the big difference is Pittsburgh has an elite fucking defense. It's not that Green Bay's is like terrible or anything, but when you have two offenses that aren't that great, but do pick up as the game goes on, I'm gonna take the team that has the consistently better defense. Especially because, like I keep saying, Pittsburgh has that weird fucking voodoo, especially in Pittsburgh. Their ability to just grind out these ugly, gritty wins. I trust them more than I trust this Packers team, so I'm going to pick Pittsburgh. San Francisco and Jacksonville. This is a really interesting game. Both teams are coming off of byes. Both teams have winning records. Jacksonville has been rolling. They've won 4 or 5 straight. I think 4 straight. No, because they're 6-2. I think they were 1-2. So I think they've won 5 straight. It was 2 in London, 1 in Houston, 1 against the Saints. That's 4. There might be another game that I'm missing. Anyways, they're on a big win streak. San Francisco is on a big losing streak. And I look at that, and there's a part of me that goes, there's no way that continues, right? Like, I know Jacksonville is a really good team, but there's no way the Niners lose 4 in a row, right? And then I also look from the other side, and I'm like, Purdy has not instilled confidence these past few weeks. The Cleveland game, again, you're playing a really good defense on the road, in the elements. You set up your kicker to win the game, and then the kicker missed the field goal. Purdy did not play well in most of that game, but he did play well enough to win in the clutch. I will give him that. Cannot say the same thing for the Minnesota game. Cannot say the same thing for the Bengals game. This, I don't know if it's necessarily like this is the make or break moment. Like if he plays shitty, especially in the clutch, they'll bench him for Darnold. I don't know if I'm willing to go that far, but I don't think that's an impossibility. 4 losses in a row is a big deal. Jacksonville is definitely a good enough team, I think, to beat the 49ers. But I am going to pick San Francisco here. And it really comes down to I think they're starting to get a bit desperate. They are neck and neck with the Seahawks. And I mean, granted, they might even think to themselves, like, we're not scared of the Seahawks. We can take them. But you're neck and neck with another team in your division. And the NFC wildcard race is also getting really tight. Most teams have about 4 to 5 wins. And with you having 5 wins, like, you're on the fringe of potentially falling out if you lose more games. They're, 3 games behind Philly now for the 1 seed? They're probably not going to get it. I mean, at this point, yeah, it's not impossible. Like, you win this week and Philly's off. You're 2 games behind. You will play Philly later, and if you win that game, you're only 1 game behind. It's not impossible, but it is like they need to start fucking winning again. You need to keep pace with the Eagles. You need to keep pace with the Seahawks. You need to keep pace with the rest of the NFC. I thought that Vikings game was going to be a huge... I didn't think they were going to lose that. I 100% didn't. I was like, okay, this needs to be a big wake-up call. You are not invincible. You already lost to Cleveland. That was kind of a weird game. People got injured. It's understandable that you would lose it, although I wasn't expecting it either, but I did think Cleveland was going to keep it really close. The Vikings game should have been a wake-up call. It clearly wasn't because of what happened in the Bengals game. I'm going to assume this bye week was essentially them kind of getting getting all of their chakras reset and shit, and they will go back to their winning ways. Jacksonville is going to put up a fight. They're a really good team. I don't expect them to get steamrolled. But I think San Francisco wins, and if they don't, this might get really interesting. I don't know what their schedule... I mean, they have another game against the Cardinals. They have another game against the Rams. They'll probably win both of those. They'll have to play the Ravens, the Seahawks twice. Those are not easy games. They've got the Eagles. How many games do they have left? This would be 10, so that's 7 games or so. Then plus this one against Jacksonville. Their schedule's not exactly easy. And there's a part of me that does really want to pick Jacksonville. I'm going to say this. I'm still going to pick San Francisco because of how good this team can be, and it's something I've been shown, and I think they get their shit together. I want Jacksonville to win because, I've got no beef with the Jaguars. I saw Trevor Lawrence on the Manning cast, so, that picture of Trevor Lawrence with, Peyton Manning's face in his haircut, that was some nightmare fuel, and I'm kind of glad I got to see it, but it was terrifying as shit. It was I feel like I like this team. I love Doug Peterson. I really wanted the Saints to hire them as their coach, and that didn't fucking happen. I want the Jags to win, and I want to see just what happens with the Niners afterwards. That sounds like a really fun storyline that I want to see play out. But I am picking the Niners to win. The Saints at the Vikings. Y'all know me. I'm a Saints fan. I want to see us win. Have some bad playoff memories of the Vikings in Minnesota. I want to see us win, but I'm picking the Vikings. We barely took care of the Bears. No pun intended, but we barely took care of that team. The defense in the second half played out of their mind. It was the Bears aren't gonna be scoring, but our offense should have put it away more thoroughly, and they couldn't. The Vikings have been playing really well. For a team that was 0-3, 0-4, they're over 500 now. They have the same record as the Saints. The defense has been playing a lot better. I mean, on the one hand, I'm their defense has been playing a lot better. Did you see how, they shut down the 49ers? The 49ers could still do some shit, but they made the plays when needed. But then I'm also they did give up 28 to the Falcons, and the Falcons have a lot of players on offense, but they're not really using them. But the Falcons also had a really weird way to get to 28 points where they had 5 at one point. So, yeah. But I'm also okay, so, their defense has been better. But the Vikings defense isn't elite. But, it's still the Saints offense. And I saw what they did to the Colts, and it made me excited. And they were able to score against the Bears, but not as much as they should have been. They're still the Saints offense. And the Saints defense is really good, but generally not in the first quarter or the first half. So the Vikings will probably do some shit there. They are terrible against running quarterbacks. They always have been. And Josh Dobbs is a very athletic dude. I don't have a good feeling about this game. As much as I hate to say it, I think the Vikings win on Sunday. So I have to pick it. Houston at Cincinnati. I still think the Bengals win. They've gotten their shit together, and they've beaten the Bills, so they can beat AFC teams now, because they were 0-3 against the AFC before that game. It's like, all right, that curse is broken. They're fine. Houston, offensively, looks really good. Defensively, I don't know. But I think Cincinnati is going to just maul them. Let me put it like this. I think, Cincinnati is going to score a lot of points. I don't think Houston is going to be able to keep up. But I think CJ Stroud is still able to put points on the board. But I feel like it's going to be one of those games where it's like 14-0, 17-0 or so pretty early on. And Houston's never able to bring it closer to, they're never able to bring it within one score. Or it's like, maybe they are, it's like 14-0 and then they score, but then the Bengals score again and then Houston can't, one of those kinds of games. There was a college football playoff game. It was Alabama and Oklahoma several years ago. I believe it was Kyler Murray's last game at Oklahoma. That was very similar to that. Bama had an early 2-3 score lead. Then Oklahoma started scoring, but their defense couldn't stop Alabama. So it's like, all right, they made it closer, never mind. They made it closer, never mind, etc., etc. I think it's one of those kinds of games, so I have the Bengals winning. Tennessee at Tampa Bay. I really don't know for this game. At first I picked Tampa, and then when I thought about it, I'm like, I don't know. This might be another game where they make a big fourth quarter rally and it's just not enough. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I feel like that's maybe a bit more likely. I am biased to hate the Bucks, so that might be why I'm thinking that. But I'm like, fuck it. I think I'll pick Tennessee. So here we go. Lions at the Chargers. This might be a really fun one. The Chargers, I think the Chargers are 500. The Lions are above 500. These are two teams that are in the playoff mix. I think the Lions right now are the 2 seed in the NFC, which is kind of fucking wild to think about. And the Chargers are a game or two out of a wild card spot. They're not out of it yet. The Chargers offense can definitely be shut down. The Jets did it for most of that game, and the Jets have a really good defense. But the Chargers were still able to find and also they were playing against a team with a shit offense. So yeah, the special teams and defense stepped up, and that's really what put them over the top. The Lions do have a good defense. They have a nasty fucking pass rush. The offense is very good too. I feel like it's weird to say I think I trust the Lions more, given that it's the fucking Lions. But I think this season, I do genuinely have more trust in Detroit than I do in the Chargers. I'm gonna pick the Lions to win. I think it's a fun game, though. I don't think it's a blowout either way. Maybe it's one of those where it's pretty close, and then in the fourth quarter, a team is a bit more desperate, throws a pick six or something, and then it looks like a blowout, but if you watch the game, it's closer than the score would indicate. I think it's one of those. I think the Lions win. Falcons at the Cardinals. So my notes just say the Cardinals suck, so I picked the Falcons. That was before I knew Kyler Murray was playing. Now I'm not as sure, because this, on the one hand, I'm this is a bit of a wild card because I haven't seen Kyler play this year. I don't know how rusty he's going to be. I don't know if he's going to go in and just ball out. That could happen. I'm I've also seen Kyler Murray play. I know he can be really good, but this is usually about the point in the season where he would slow down and not look as good. But then I'm also but he's fresh. This is him. It's not like he's been playing for a few weeks and now teams are adjusting. It's well, they don't really have anything to adjust to. And I thought the Falcons had a really good defense, but Rookie Will Levis carved him up. Josh Dobbs, not knowing the fucking playbook or like his teammates' names, carved them up. So the Falcons D really might not be as good as I thought it was. Maybe the Cardinals got some fire in their gut, you know? I'm like, this is enough of a wild card factor that fuck it. I will pick the Cardinals. I will pick Kyler Murray to beat the Falcons. Please beat the Falcons. Washington. Oh no, sorry. Then it's the Giants and the Cowboys. And here are my notes. Again, just kind of say, well, the Giants suck. And there's nothing that's going to change that for me. Like, do I think Tommy DeVito is going to have a good game against the Dallas defense? No. Do I think Dallas is going to have a bad game against the Giants? No. They destroyed them earlier in the year. And it's like, yeah, now there's been... That was week 1. We're in week 10. A lot has happened since. Yeah, and what has happened since? The Giants have looked just as bad, if not worse, since that game. And the Cowboys still look like a good team. If that loss against Philly taught me anything, this is a very tough team. They can rise to the level of elite opponents. Again, 49ers game notwithstanding. But I feel like they're angry after a loss like that and need someone to just kind of kick the shit out of. And I think that's going to be the Giants. Like, I think this is going to be another huge fucking blowout. Next is Washington at Seattle. And Washington played well against the Patriots. It was a close win. There was some, like, again, like Sam Howell throws a pick in the end zone. That's not good. The offense isn't able to put it away at the end. The Patriots had a chance to drive down the field. I'm like, look, they still got it done. The defense was able to do enough. The offense was able to do enough. I'm feeling kind of good about Washington. Seattle was embarrassed by the Ravens, who were still a good team, but they were thoroughly dismantled. It's the kind of loss that makes me lose some confidence in a team. So I'm going into this and I'm like, I'm a lot less confident about Seattle. And Washington is looking good. So I have to pick the Seahawks. Because anytime I start to think that, man, Washington's looking good, they lose. It's like fucking clockwork. Like, I can see what's happening. I've got a clue. I'm not going to fall for this again, Washington. Which, I don't know. Maybe the fact that I've caught on to it now, they're like, well, now we have to win. But I'm going to pick the Seahawks because I can't trust Washington at all. So the Jets and the Raiders. What I have learned from the Jets is an elite defense and an offense that just can't pull its weight. Although on occasion, they can look kind of good or like kind of have a drive, but they're not very good. What I learned from the Raiders is Josh McDaniels held this team back. The offense can score. They've got talent. The defense can play really well, generate turnovers, generate pressure. The Jets' offense is like just as bad as the Giants. Like maybe not quite, but yeah, like they're not good. Zach Wilson is like getting sacked left and right. He's constantly under pressure. I think the Raiders win. I don't know if they win quite as big if they did against the Giants, but I think they have a pretty thorough win. Is this the Sunday night? Oh, no, that's the Sunday night game. I completely... Why the fuck is this a primetime game? The Jets and the Raiders? Like, I get why you would do that in the offseason. New York and Las Vegas. Aaron Rodgers leading the Jets, and now... I mean, it's not like Jimmy G is a marquee name, but against the Vegas team and shit, like... But why would you not flex this out? Oh my gosh. It's so bad. I don't think a single game has been flexed out of Sunday Night Football. And the Bears and the Jets have played in primetime since. That's really fucking bad. I feel like these not the last 2 weeks, because Buffalo and Cincinnati is definitely a primetime game. Like Bears, Chargers, Raiders, Jets. This is why flexing is a thing. Why have we not flexed any of these games? Oh gosh. But Monday night is Denver and Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo is a very vulnerable team. They are not playing up to their potential. I say it all the time. I also say that I believe in this team, that I want to believe in this team. Here's why I'm picking them, and I'll give you 2 reasons. Reason number 1, they're playing Denver. Denver's coming off a bye. They're coming off a win against the Chiefs, where Mahomes had the flu, but coming off a win against the Chiefs. Like, they've won a couple in a row, and I've been like, I can't pick Denver until they do shit consistently, but I still just don't trust them. I really don't. And Buffalo is the more desperate team. Denver is in a worse situation, but Buffalo is a team that still has genuine aspirations of the playoffs, of the Super Bowl. I don't really think they're a Super Bowl team right now, but they're a team that believes they can be. I don't feel like Denver does. Denver just kind of knows, like, look, we're really not that good, but we're still going to play. Like, let's see what we can do, like, build some shit in this new era with a new coach. Buffalo wants to win now, and their schedule is going to get rough. They've got Miami again. They've got the Eagles. They've got the Chiefs. They've got Dallas. This is one of their last remaining games. They're like, yeah, they should be winning this one. So they really fucking need to. Which, of course, means, like, maybe because they're more desperate, we're going to get Josh Allen doing bad Josh Allen things. But I feel like they need this win enough that they're going to get it. And then the bye weeks are... The fuck? Oh, no, sorry. I was like, why are some of these teams on here? I was like, oh, yeah, that's just, like, Buffalo's schedule that I was just talking about. But the byes, Chiefs, Rams, Dolphins, Eagles. So going over my picks again. Bears over the Panthers. Colts over the Patriots. Baltimore over Cleveland. Pittsburgh over Green Bay. Niners over the Jaguars. I'm torn on that one. I want the Jags to win, but I think the Niners will finally get it done. I hate to say it, but the Vikings over the Saints. Bengals over the Texans. Tennessee over Tampa. Detroit over the Chargers. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals over the Falcons. So if Kyler doesn't play, like, I think the Falcons win, but like I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Cowboys over the Giants, Seahawks over the Washington, over the Commies. Raiders over the Jets, Buffalo over Denver. Those are my picks. We'll see how I do.